The US Supreme Court has handed Donald Trump a major win by ruling that former presidents have immunity from legal prosecution for their official actions, but not for their private conduct. It was a 6-3 ruling. The court's 3 Liberal justices strongly disagreed with the 6 Conservatives. While it doesn't dismiss the case against Donald Trump for his alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election, it does strip away key elements of it. The ruling also further reduces the chances of the former president going on trial before this year's election, and it makes the job of Special Counsel Jack Smith to pursue prosecution much more difficult.
New precedent here isn't just new in the sense that we haven't had these facts before. It is also new in the sense that the court establishes, invents, creates, or if you want to view the lens more favorably to the majority, finds a doctrine that had never before existed, which says that instead of equality before the law, where everyone is equal before the law and no man or woman is above the law, one man or woman has the presumption that they are above the law.
Donald Trump is charged with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding, which was the certification of Joe Biden as president. Mr. Trump has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts has noted that a president's discussions with his vice president are official conduct, and that his speech and social media activity on January 6 were also official acts. Outside the court, protesters hit out at the ruling.
In my opinion, this is a corrupt court that has kicked the can down the road to such a degree that Trump will not get a trial before the election, and the American people have a right to that, innocent or not guilty or whatever.
They want a theocracy on some level, a theocracy that supports, a totalitarian government.
Among the dissenting voices was Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who was scathing. She said the Supreme Court has allowed a president to become, quote, a king above the law, and described the decision as utterly indefensible. She added the court effectively creates a law-free zone around the president, upsetting the status quo that has existed since the founding, and said, ironic, isn't it? The man in charge of enforcing laws can now just break them.
If you have a president who is able to take all kinds of actions that a citizen or another member of the government would not be able to take, and there's no criminal accountability, to me, that's not the same separation of powers democratic system that we have now. You're veering more in at least the potential for an authoritarian or dictatorial regime, which is, of course, what many people are afraid Donald Trump will do.
Donald Trump has welcomed the court's ruling, writing on his Truth Social platform, "Big win for our Constitution and democracy, proud to be an American." The sitting president, Joe Biden, says the court ruling sets a dangerous precedent.
No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. With today's Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity, that fundamentally changed. For all practical purposes, today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do.
The case is now being sent back to a lower court. The trial judge will have to decide which charges can move forward. Although if a ruling is made against the former president, he will have the option to appeal again in the Supreme Court.
The case has a great deal in it that is still viable. And assuming that we have an attorney general and a special counsel who are willing to bring the case, not in January, but maybe a year from January, Mr. Trump is still going to face a lot of consequences. And therefore, the stakes are even bigger for him in the upcoming election.